Good afternoon, friends. Today I will tell you about the movie Cargo. Smoke rises over the vast Australian plains. An Aboriginal girl runs across the plain toward the forest. Meanwhile, a small houseboat slowly floats down the wide river. Inside is a carefree family: Andy, his wife Kay, and their young daughter Karosai. They act like an ordinary suburban family on a boat trip to gain experience and see beautiful places, but that's only at first glance. Andy notices a balloon floating above the trees. He sees another family on the shore. The family is obviously on a camping trip. The husband, his wife, and their 2 children. Andy greets them, but the head of the family does not respond to the greeting, but instead shows a gun, as if to forbid Andy to dock at the shore. Andy is sympathetic to the incident and simply leads his house on. Evening. Andy and Kay stopped for the night, tying the raft to a driftwood sticking out of the water. Andy pulls out a strange-looking first aid kit with a syringe and instructions. They run out of provisions, and Kay suggests they dock and get to the nearest town for food. Andy is against it. He can't risk his family for food. Andy suggests they follow the route and come ashore, where a hospital and living people await them. Meanwhile, Aboriginal girl Tumi improves her soles by gluing moss and various twigs. This is how she hopes to hide from her vigilant mother, who might follow in her footsteps. Tumi is hiding from her, so she tries her best to cover her tracks. The next day, Andy sees a yacht on the shore. He gets on the boat and sails to it. The half-sunken boat is abandoned, but it has plenty of provisions, even a bottle of wine. At one point, Andy listens. There is a strange sound coming from the closet. Hearing it, he quickly gathers up the provisions and swims back. There he tells Kay about the find. Andy's wife worries about whether it is safe to sit near the abandoned boat. Andy doesn't want to scare her, so he says there is no danger. Kay sends him off to take a nap while she goes to the boat to get a razor for her husband he hasn't shaved in days. Kay finds what she was looking for, but doesn't get away in time. The creature hiding in the closet attacks her. Andy woke up to his daughter crying and became agitated. He saw traces of blood on the floor and then his wife, who was bleeding from a bite on her leg. Kay says the creature was human, one of the zombies inhabiting the continent. Kay has 48 hours, after which she herself will turn into a zombie. So husband and wife decide to leave the boat and walk to the hospital, which is listed on the map. On the way, they plan to take transportation. After gathering some provisions and putting Rosie in a special transfer chair, they set off. As Andy and Kay moved away from the river, they saw the charred corpses of men pierced by spears, their heads buried in the ground. While her husband, his wife, and daughter roam the plain, Tumi hunts. She catches a hare, throws it into a deep hole, and plugs her ears so she cannot hear the animal being eaten. Once they get to the highway, Andy and Kay find a car, fill it up, and drive off, nearly becoming a snack for one of the zombies. Enough time passes. Kay is pale and looking unwell, but during another stop, she takes it upon herself to change her daughter's diapers while Andy studies the map. In the process, she has a seizure. Kay falls to the ground and a viscous fluid flows from her mouth. Tumi took the food to the creature in the pit again, but this time the creature wouldn't eat, it ran away. Tumi was frightened and ran to find it. Along the way, Kay realizes that she does not have long to live. She tries to leave her husband and daughter, to commit suicide so as not to put them in danger. But Andy cannot leave his wife. He convinces her to keep going because there is still hope for salvation. Sitting behind the wheel, Andy is distracted for a second. One of the zombies appears on the road. Terrified that it is a living person, Andy tries to pass him, but fails to steer and crashes into a tree root. Kay is punched through with a branch. The blow makes Andy lose consciousness, and when he comes to, his wife has already turned. She bites Andy when he wants to save his daughter. After dragging Rosie out of the car, Andy returns and stabs his wife in the head with a special syringe designed to kill zombies. Andy puts on his watch, sets the countdown from 48 hours, puts Rosie in the carrier, and sets off. He doesn't get very far before he runs into the very zombie that came out on the road. The man wants to kill it, but then Tumi appears and protects the zombie. She cuts open her palm to attract the undead. It turns out that the zombie is her father. Tumi and her father leave, and Andy moves on. He finds a small abandoned village with no people, but the lanterns are lit, which means someone is still alive. Andy goes into one of the buildings and meets Etta, a former teacher. She shelters him for the night and then tells him about Tumi and her tribesmen. She tells him that they can help Andy. Etta herself doesn't have much time left because of cancer, so she can't leave Rosie with her. The man sets off again. On the way he finds Vic, the man with the gun. He is trapped and cannot get out on his own. Andy helps him, and Vic takes him with him to his lodging. A girl named Lorraine is waiting for Vic. Andy decides that they are husband and wife. Vic offers to leave Rosie with Lorraine and takes Andy with him. He takes him to the cage that Toomey is in. The zombies huddle around the cage. Vic kills them and then searches for valuables. Vic explains to Andy that while the apocalypse is happening in the world, he collects trinkets and controls the gas wells. When the zombies are gone, he will have the resources to rule the world. After the cage with Toomey, they move to another cage. In it sits a man from Toomey's tribe. She calls him a sage. There Vic also kills the zombies and takes their belongings. Andy realizes he doesn't have much time left. At night he gets up, kisses his daughter, and leaves Vic to kill himself, but Lorraine prevents him from doing so. She takes Rosie and is about to run away. The girl tells Andy that Vic worked with her husband and that he left him in the factory to die. Lorraine wants to get rid of Vic to get away from him. She says she will take care of Rosie if Andy will help her. At this point Vic catches them and knocks Andy out. When Andy wakes up, he realizes that he is chained to Toomey. Now the two of them are sitting in a cage while the zombies slowly walk toward them. Andy finds a way out. He distracts the zombies, and he and Toomey escape. Toomey wants to free the sage, and Andy has to get his daughter back. They sneak into Vic's house, steal Rosie, and wake Lorraine. The four of them run away, but Vic catches up with them. He wants to shoot Andy, but Lorraine is in the line of fire. Vic kills the girl and Toomey and Andy run away. The three of them come to the river where Andy's boat is moored. He wants to find the family he saw on the shore a few days ago. He plans to give Rosie to them before he turns into a zombie, but the family is not there. Andy sets out to find them. In the woods he sees a man digging a grave and his children and wife playing in the distance. The man is also bitten by a zombie. To spare his family from a terrible fate, he wants to shoot them and then shoot himself. He offers to take Andy's gun back afterwards, since there are 2 rounds of ammunition left in it for Andy and his daughter. Andy refuses. He walks away, but he hears gunshots. The man catches up with him and shoots himself in the head. Andy takes his gun. Toomey smears her face and Rosie's face with a special compound that prevents the zombies from hearing the smell. Then she offers to go to where her family is hiding. All they have to do is go over the bridge and then through the tunnel. They set off on their way. There are dozens of zombies hiding in the tunnel, but they are not hurting people, they are in hibernation. On the way out, Andy sees Vic's truck. Vic spots Andy and Toomey. He hits the girl and she hits her head on the railroad tracks. Andy and Vic get into a fight. Andy wounds him, but gets shot himself. Vic manages to take Rosie for himself, but Andy convinces him to give up the girl and let them go. After much tossing and turning, Vic agrees. Andy can barely walk, but he helps Toomey walk. The girl is weak and can barely move. Smoke can be seen ahead, which means they are getting closer. Andy is exhausted and mucus flows from his eyes and mouth, but he is determined to get his daughter to safety. Andy notices a half-eaten animal corpse on the side of the road. He wants to pounce on it, sinking his teeth into the bleeding flesh, but he stops in time. Instead, he takes some of the giblets with him. At the same time, the Toomey tribe kills dozens of zombies and then throws them into bonfires and burns them. This is how they cleanse their land of disease. Everything around them is shrouded in white smoke. Andy didn't get there in time. He began to transform, but before he did, he made Toomey promise that she would get Rosie to safety. As he said goodbye to his daughter, he figured out a way for the girl to get to her family, despite her weakness. Andy wrapped the remnants of the animal he had brought with him onto a stick and laid his daughter on her back, while Toomey settled on top. The girl held the stick with the remains of the beast in front of Andy's nose, and he turned into a zombie and wandered to the smell of blood. The natives find them. Toomey says goodbye to Andy. The girls are taken to a safe house. There are many survivors there, waiting for the land to finally be cleansed of zombies so they can return. Thanks for watching. Sign up and like it if you want more of these reviews.